stance cars, speed fanatics, motorsport, show cars, all lived in harmony until the speed fanatics attacked. This is the legendary tale of everything wrong with the car community now. Okay, so the target audience for this video is car guys, which I hope to see a lot of people that are into cars, whether you're new or you've been in the game for a while. But listen, we're going to list this and tag down as much stuff as possible. But if we don't tag down as much, we might got to do a part 2. So, first off, I'm going to show you a couple cars, and I wanted to tell you which one is the supercar, and you must give an answer. And if you guess Toyota Prius, you are incorrect. Now, obviously, that was very obvious. I hope that was obvious. But basically, the cars at the end are supercars. And I know you're like, wait, but those don't look like supercars. Supercars I'm used to is like a Porsche 911 or a Ferrari, like Portofino, something like that. Well, basically, it's a sport called V8 supercars. And specifically, they're basically cars that are very super. Wow, I know, right? That's crazy. But yeah, basically it's like touring cars, but in Australia. It's pretty cool. One of the coolest sports indeed. But yeah, basically that's what it's called. And a lot of people surprisingly don't know that. So you definitely see a lot of people get confused and angry, and obviously spamming these aren't supercars. Usually you would expect this from somebody that's an entry-level car guy that only knows the basics. But it goes there for a lot of more quote-unquote experience. Definitely car guys that touch grass, you know. They definitely touched grass before and didn't just look up spec sheets. But yeah, basically, the sport's called V8 Supercars. And anyways, I just wanted to get that out the way because I thought it would be funny. And so, we're getting on to our next topic. Okay, so, heavy disclaimer before this. Now, obviously, you don't have to respect all builds. Everybody knows that. That's common sense. Everybody has their own preferences. I have my preferences. I like certain cars. The other dude down the street, he may like different cars. And guess what? That makes sense. Because at the end of the day, everybody has different tastes. Which leads me to my next, basically, main topic. Different tastes, different, like, cultures. And I feel like, especially when it comes to like the interstates, people that are more into speed, spec sheet numbers, and basically your low-key internet warriors and stuff like that, they only pay attention to speed, horsepower. That's about it. If it doesn't have speed, horsepower, if it's anything else that just doesn't make power, they basically just like lose it. They go crazy. Fun fact, there are other types of car cultures within the entirety of the car culture. That's why it's called car culture, because there's multiple things that make up this culture. And instead, these idiots think that it's just speed. Well, guess what? It's not. That's common sense. You got guys that are in a stance, like, you know, cars that, you know, the camber and stuff like that. Then you got guys that are into show cars, you know, presenting the car for car shows, obviously. Hence, you know, the name car shows. And then you got guys that are like just straight up like into motorsport. Like they just like to drive. And I feel like mainly, honestly, like, yeah, mainly the people that are into speed and stuff like that, they can't comprehend this and understand this. And they think that if it's not speed, then really what is it? I mean, I'm guessing that's kind of why they bump somewhat well with motorsports people. But mainly, they think that cars are only made for drag strips, track, or basically anything that just delivers power. If it doesn't deliver power, then it's automatically null and void, which is stupid. Because there's multiple things within the car community. And this also brings up my next topic. People that don't understand these cultures. Fun fact, like I said before, you may like one thing, that person may like another. You don't have to respect it, but you at least have to acknowledge it and know that that's a different culture. So you can like, how do I say it? You can bash a trash build all you want. But if it's a build for that topic and everybody within that topic loves it, then you have to acknowledge it. You see the difference? If it's an actual, like, let's say somebody makes a lowrider, right? and you're a classics guy, but you don't really like lowriders. And everybody in that lowrider scene, they're like, oh my bro, this is the best lowrider ever. You go like, okay, yeah, I acknowledge it. That's good, but it's not my cup of tea. Instead of just bashing and be like, oh, you ruined the car and stuff. That's stupid. And I see like a lot of classic enthusiasts, they just be bashing lowriders and donks and stuff. Be like, you ruined it. It's no longer like this cool classic. Like, you just made it your own thing. And that's the thing. It's their own thing. That's their culture that builds into the car culture. If it's not your cup of tea, then just get out of it. Don't drink it. Obviously, it's just common sense. It's kind of like how people leave a comment saying, like, who asked? Or like, who even cares? Obviously, you had to care enough to comment. It's common sense. So, you see what I mean? But on to the next topic. Because, let's be real. These topics, they get very annoying seeing people comment, like comment them and stuff. Next up, we have people that try to basically, like, lower a car's status because insert car is better. Okay, now believe this or not, and it's crazy how this has to still be stressed to this day. This is legit like one of the first main arguments that can be easily shut down if everybody just used the common sense to acknowledge the fact that insert modified car beating stock supercar does not mean that, oh yeah, insert modified car is automatically better than stock supercar. Stock supercar sucks. It doesn't work like that. No, it just doesn't work like that. Because two things. One, if we talk about modifications and arguments, it can go on forever. Well, just wait till I have my supercharged, triple supercharged, double twin turbocharged W16 and it makes like 5,000 horse. You see, that makes no sense, right? Like, that just makes no sense. It's just stupid. And then two, let's be real here. If we modify supercars, they're gonna be faster. That's just common sense. Like, matter of fact, you can legit search it up. A lot of like the main cars in terms of like the drag racing, supercar racing and stuff like that. Not supercar racing, but just drag racing scene in general. A lot of them are what? Corvettes, Vipers, like twin turbocharged Huracans, Audis and stuff like that. Those are the ones that be going crazy. The ones that you see losing and stuff, even if they are modified, usually are down-tuned. They aren't fully tuned up to their maximum potential because the person still usually wants to keep them reliable. You know, your grocery getter that you just put like 50K in parts and stuff, that's going to be unreliable now. And that's another thing. People act like those cars are still reliable while they modify them, and that's all a lie. Just because you see it run from the person's post doesn't mean it's going to run like that in real life. And a lot of like YouTubers and stuff like this, like who own cars like that, like 50K built cars, they'll tell you themselves, like they have videos on it, and they're like, this car doesn't run well. Like, that's the reason I don't always post like that about the cars, because it's always breaking down. That's just common sense. Let's be real. And then there's another thing that low-key ties into like the, how do I say it? Like, kind of like just this overall topic of the video. At least, like, how do I say it? Study information. Like, there's a difference between being a person who's a spec sheet nerd and a person who actually knows what parts are. A spec sheet nerd is a person who only cares about power and stuff, but they don't actually know how it's delivered. Which some spec sheet nerds, they may know how it's deliver how it works and all that, which is good. But then sometimes there's some choke points on certain things that they don't understand, which kind of just defunds their whole argument. They get angry and they don't understand. But here's the difference. It's called research. If you do your research, you'll find out how this works, how that works. And like, just in general, you might want to actually, look up information about cars. If you're gonna, like, not saying you have to know a lot to be into cars, but I'm just, because I'm not no gatekeeper, but I'm just saying, to put it simply like this, you're gonna want to have, like, if you want to get into that scene of like talking about cars, like how cars are built and stuff like that, you're gonna want to have knowledge on what makes a car run in the first place. Like me, honestly, I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I at least have a decent amount of knowledge into what works for a car before I start yapping about cars. I gotta make sure I know what I'm gonna talk about before I start talking. Like how I'm making this video, I had to know what I'm talking about. I had to think, I'm like, okay, is this a good topic? Which brings us to our next topic. This is definitely a good topic. We have takeovers. And to be honest, takeovers suck. Now, it may be fun for you. You may enjoy it while you enjoy it. But let's be real, there's so many videos that obviously show why takeovers are a bad idea. One, how it got somewhat involved in basically just criminal activity in general. And two, just go to a burn pit. And you can't be like I'm gonna be honest right now, with a lot of like auto events and stuff, like you can't be like, oh, I can't afford it. I can see if you're talking about like a distance way, like gas and stuff like that. But if you're saying you can't afford it at a takeover, and especially if you're the one drifting at a takeover, you're wasting gas. So you definitely at least can afford that, which I'm pretty sure you at least have a few bucks to spare for like $15 to go to like a burn pit or something, like something that's more safe and more organized essentially. Because let's be real, takeovers aren't safe and organized for anybody. And they usually lead to a lot of shootings, which have been seen on the internet. And I don't understand why people still go to them. And you could be like, oh yeah, well, they're fun. Okay, congratulations. They're fun, but they're still stupid. Just because they're fun doesn't automatically null and void the fact that they're stupid. This is coming from a 17-year-old, by the way. Like, it's just very obvious that they're stupid. Not to mention, yeah, takeovers, like, it's just a bad rep in general. Don't try to rep takeovers. I'm being honest. They just ruined the car scene. Because a lot of people think, realistically, that a lot of car guys are into that scene. But let's be real, no, it's not. It's just young people who want to live inside the light. And yes, there are some car guys in there, but let's be real, it's mostly just young people that want to have some type of weird thrill experience or something like that. Let's be real. And speaking of takeovers, let's talk about Dodge. Famous for dodging that repo, man. Because let's be honest on, really honestly, three things here. There are people that obviously actually own these Chargers and Challengers, by the way. There obviously are people that own them. Let's be fair. I'm pretty sure it still is a well-bought car. But it also is a well-stolen car. Matter of fact, both models are the most stolen cars in the U.S. I'm talking about specifically in the U.S. I can't speak for other countries besides like what other countries have to offer. But I can mainly speak for the U.S. because I am a U.S. citizen. And so, let's be real here. That car is very commonly stolen. Meaning a lot of those that you see in takeovers are 9 times out of 10 stolen. And if they aren't stolen, let's be fair, they're probably put on a lease. Meaning, aka, that's not that person's car, that's the bank car. And I know you're wondering, you're like, but that person, like, that's their car, right? No, that's not their car. Basically, they're running off a 30% APR, bad taxes, and a low credit score. And, yeah. And now, I respect the people that actually did buy the car, worked hard enough to get it, but I feel bad for them. One, the prices of the car is definitely going to go down. Two, your car is probably going to get stolen. Three, you're just going to be stuck with a bad rep, and it's going to probably be a while before it gets cleared, especially with the fact that the company that makes those cars is now going EV, so that's really the last like generation, and y'all ended it kind of on a bad note, let's be fair, compared to Chevy and Ford. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I love me some muscle cars, bro, especially classics, and I also do love newer muscle cars. But you Dodge dudes, Charger boys, SRT, whatever y'all want to call them, you guys aren't really in a good limelight right now. So honestly, the best thing to do is obviously to just not steal the car, but we already know that's not going to happen, as it being the most stolen cars within the U.S. So that's like, you know what it reminds me of? Because like, I see a lot of people from other countries kind of bash America for this, but especially people from the UK, bro. I don't know what it is between the US and the UK bashing each other like left and right, when both of them kind of copy off of each other, like just in two different styles. Like, you know how America has a gun problem, the UK has a knife problem. The UK has the Lotus Carlton, and we have the Dodge Charger. Basically the same thing, just one was in the 90s and one is now, with more internet access and more visuals to see the problem. And yeah, pretty annoying. But in all, like, I definitely probably want to do a part 2 eventually. But in overall, yeah, a lot of people in the car community need common sense, different things to enjoy, and not to respect all builds, but to at least know what a build is and the difference between it.
Otherwise than that, walk off with some common sense and some more knowledge. Icy Boy Gaming, out. Boom.
Dang, 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 dang. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding, ding.